Welcome, 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 my Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your Need to Love read for this full moon to new moon next June 2020. I am your reader, Mark Angelo, Lyons for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, and president of Drawing the Circle Productions. Honored to be doing these readings during such a challenging time. I know they're coming out slow because of what's going on in the United States right now. I am an empath. I'm feeling everybody's everything locally, nationally, globally. So to do these readings is a form of spiritual counseling for whoever finds them. I've been in prayer all morning, all morning, and a good chunk of this afternoon too. So I just at a certain point had to make some coffee and say, all right, guides, do it through me, whatever they need. So we are looking at a couple of things. Number one, this is a full moon to new moon read. We're looking at the full moon in Sagittarius this Friday, June 5th. I'm doing this on the Wednesday before. And then the new moon in Cancer on Sunday, June 21st, not just Father's Day, but the day right after Letha, the summer solstice. So the brightest day during the dark night of the moon, the 3 days before the new moon. Is just a little interesting, a bit of a paradox there. So these readings are about, well, they're different this time around. It's like, well, what do you need to love, right? What do you need read is going to the divine and saying, okay, I'm just going to guess I don't know what I need. Just tell me what I need. Show me what I need, even with what I have around me right now. Because if we always have everything we need spiritually in the present moment, well then, show me, right? Show me what I need. This is a little bit different. This is a love reading, but showing you what you need to focus your love upon, what's rising up within you, your own stuff and other people and other situations to help with the healing of all of humanity and planet Earth. So it's a little bit different. I don't know if we're going to keep these this way forevermore. I somehow doubt it. I feel like this is for the situation that we're in. Cool, cool. So regardless of where you are, please remember this is a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Check your other signs. All 12 in this series are these What Do You Need to Love readings. Otherwise, just follow your breath. I will do the same, and we will let my pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves do the work. They're just going to use me, Leo rising that I am. So all the cards that I read are in the description box at the very bottom. We're going to start one card each, just a 6-card draw, one card from 6 different decks. We're going to start with the Caroline Mace archetype deck to look at the soul power that you need to love. Nice deep breath. And here we go. Here's the best part. Tuning my collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, one card in clarity for the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. This full moon in Sagittarius to new moon next in Cancer. What is the dominant archetype in their energy field, in their contract, in their soul contract singularly, either their own or dealing with another or a situation where this archetype is dominant? What is the archetype they need to love? The shadow to be brought to light, the pain to be brought to peace, please, for them this full moon to new moon next, June 2020. Now, talk about an intense archetype. We're looking at the wild card of the slave. Now, the thing about the slave archetype, it means so many different things. It's scriptural. Right? It goes all the way back to holy books and scriptures going back thousands and thousands of years. It's a very ancient archetype. And its shadow, so crushing. Let me read what's on the card just to make it easier. Giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices. So I have dealt with the slave archetype in so many different clients throughout the decades that I have been doing this, right? Abdicating their power of choice, their willpower. There's a difference. I'm a servant, not a slave. A servant has a choice, a slave does not, though there are aspects of the servant archetype as well, being a Virgo, I'm familiar of it, which is the indentured slave, where it's all because of the money, you just have to, that you feel like you have no choice because you usually don't. This can be in all levels And as toxic and as terrifying as the slave archetype is, to feel that we're so afraid to make our own choices, but look at the times that we're in, that we're abdicating our responsibility, our ability to choose, to an external authority, which, by the way, can also be a substance. Yeah, am I a slave to coffee? I don't know, but I certainly drink it every day, right? So that's the addict archetype, a different flavor, but connected. The light attribute, though, surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. So in terms of what you need to love, right, or what I need to love read, the collectives are saying here, if you don't know what to do, surrender it to the divine, right? It is this type of surrender to the divine where the slave becomes master. Now, please take that out of socio-political context for right now, but in that sense of just looking at how the world is right now, nobody knows, right? I'm sorry, I'm a brilliant clairvoyant and a brilliant empath. I can feel quantum trends, but they're not showing me anything more than I absolutely need to know in the present moment, and I think that's pretty much for everybody right now, at least in that way. So to surrender your power of choice to the divine with complete trust, that is a journey. And on a waning moon from Sagittarius, that expansion, right, of that Jupiterian full moon, might get the spiritual jolt of the divine connection, but then waning to that new moon in Cancer to begin again with a new emotional foundation for that and healing as a result of that. Let's keep going. That's it's an incredibly challenging archetype, because it does come down to, if you want in the Christian tradition, thy will be done, right? It's surrender to the divine, it's willpower, the throat. But a wild card, you never know what to expect. So to really get in touch with that light attribute means really, really loving the part of yourself that is just so terrified to make a choice or to make a life-changing decision. That needs to be loved, but ultimately to surrender it to your higher power. Let's ask the Healing with the Angels Oracle, which is sort of a perfect segue. My angels, please, for the Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and they're like, remember, Mark, you are Leo rising. I'm like, yeah, I know. It is all, I'm like right there with you, is the point. I'm like, I don't know. You show me what to do. I will do my best. So my angels, please, one card in clarity for the Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. This full moon in Sagittarius to new moon in Cancer, June 2020. Please, what have you got for them? Because collective's talking about the slave archetype. What is the angel that walks with them? The healing with the angel is intention, and intention is all about the will. What will you do? What won't you do? What will you intend? What won't you intend? What will you put your focus, your time, your energy into, and what won't you? The what and the why and all of it. To surrender all of that, to have the angel, the healing angel of intention, to make your intention only to heal. May it all just heal. May it heal me. May it heal the world. May it heal humanity. May it heal every aspect of all of life with every breath that I take. That's something that a slave archetype can surrender to the divine, saying, take it all. May it all heal. That's my intention. Just an example. But since it's the Healing with the Angels Oracle, it feels that's appropriate. So to love that, what do you need to love? You need to love that you can have the intention to heal, right? We forget about that, right? Like, I intend to heal no matter what happens. Let that be not my central intention. My central intention is to love no matter what happens. But hence the heal part of it, right? So let's ask the Daughters of the Moon Tarot, the voices of the goddess, the divine yin collective. Breathe. My goddesses, please, for the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. I'm feeling this one. One card in clarity, a piece of tarot, a piece of the story here for the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. This Sagittarius full moon to Cancer, new moon, June 2020. Please. The collective's talking about the slave archetype, familiar with it, though don't have it lifelong. It comes and goes in my life. The angels are talking about intention, right? Usually the angels of fire, the Michaelite. What will you want? What will you do? What won't you? Why will you? Why won't you? Please, what is this about? Give us a little piece of intuitive hit here, my goddesses, for this Leo collective. This June full moon to new moon. No shit. The High Priestess. All right. Oh, you are being used. We are being used as a divine channel. Secrets being revealed to us, but all through the subconscious, that the slave really can surrender to the divine because it is being used as a channel, vehicle, and vessel, though often unbeknownst to it, because then also along with that goes, then I only need to know, and then may I know only that which I absolutely need to know as I go. It's the maiden. It's the maiden grace of knowing that you don't know. It's like, all right, then I am the priestess. Reveal to me everything I need to know. That is my intention, so that I can what? Serve. That I can serve the divine. See, this is the thing about the golden, if you will. You want to talk the archetype. This is a spiritual, scriptural context more than a sociological one to get that then the slave becomes master. I mean, look at Jesus, look at Moses, look at, there's just so many that have surrendered their will. I mean, if you're doing it on that scale, I would say the card of the hype, I mean, if you're any sort of really walking this path spiritually and as mystically as close to the divine as you can, that is really an intention of full surrender. Which is interesting because at Letha we will be at the throat chakra. It's the fifth Sabbath, the fifth chakra, summer solstice, and that is surrender your will to the divine. So kind of right on time. The Sacred Truth, Anatomy of the Spirit, Carolyn Mace. Read it. Good book. Let's ask the Ascended Masters. Well, this is where things can turn. This is where the worm often turns in these readings. When we get to the Chuck Spezzano Love Pack, and that's why I love them. Half the deck is that suit of problems. It's good to know. Like, when it comes, it's a blessing. I know, the deck is literally stacked. 50% the suit of problems, but then you've got the grace, the healing, and the luck cards to balance that out. So let's take a nice deep breath. We'll ask the Ascended Masters, who will also give us a healing mantra card, no matter what this card is. So please, my Ascended Masters, one card in clarity for the Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. This full moon in Sagittarius to new moon next in Cancer. Please, what do they need to love? That's such the question. Not just what do they need, what do they need to love? Like, what do they need to have to experience the love within them? What do they need to focus their love on, inside or out? What have you got for the Leo collective this full moon to new moon next June 2020, my Ascended Masters? Specialness. Okay. All right, this definitely, talking to a Leo about specialness. Here we go. There are two types of special. There's special love and special hate, neither of which is of the divine inherently. That is sort of the ego's version of it, right? It is that specialness of the ego, specialness meaning separate, meaning that this special pain that I have is separate from everyone else's, right? Or this special hate, like we hate, like it's how the ego divides and conquers, right? And it's understandable. It's afraid. It's afraid for its life. So be aware, okay, just first thing comes right as I look at this card, be aware of High Priest, High Priestess syndrome. It does happen. The holier of thou stuff, it is the spiritual ego taking you for a ride. Be aware, not beware, be aware of the spiritual ego. It is part of it. When you start thinking of yourself as special, better than, or just as hard, just as toxic, but less assuming, less than, worse than everybody else. It's still a trick of the ego to create a narrative for when it is unsure, and this is very much so a time of uncertainty, and it is the card of the High Priestess, which in any tarot deck, any book worth its salt, will talk about secrets and mysteries. Not so much the obfuscation of the Moon card, but they are connected. Here we're really looking about the deep, sensitive, intuitive part, the divine feminine aspect in terms of the maiden, of humility, of being, particularly with this slave archetype, with the intention of just saying, all right, nothing special about me. Let me be holy. No matter who I am, let the divine work through me. There you go. Just watch out for specialness that you're too good or not good enough for. Just it's the ego trying to avoid its surrender to the divine. Yeah. Because I will surrender bigger and brighter than any has ever surrendered before. It's like, no, honey. It doesn't work that way, in my experience at least. And trust me, I'm Leo rising. But I will say nobody rises from the ashes quite like Angelo Lyons. Let's keep going, shall we? Oh, the healing mantra deck. We need a healing mantra. Oh, we all. That's why I love putting these in the readings in general, since I got them back in early December. Please, my Ascended Masters, one card, the perfect healing mantra for the Leo collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. What have you got for them? This full moon in Sagittarius to new moon next in Cancer, as if you could say to them, look, here's the one mantra that if you work this full moon to new moon next, whenever you jump into it, this is going to help you heal, take you further than any other mantra that you can find or discover along the way. So what have you got for them, for the Leo collective? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, my Ascended Masters, for these Leos, full moon to new moon next. Inviting ecstasy. It is my favorite mantra. I am worthy of all the pleasure my heart desires. I love this card. I am worthy of all the pleasure, not just some, not just most, all the pleasure my heart desires. What was that, electric company? Did I just have an electric company flashback to the 70s? I think I just did. All, some, and none. All. Just to clarify, I am worthy of all the pleasure my hearts, all three of them, desire. Inviting, hold on. Inviting ecstasy. When ecstasy is invited, you feel aligned. Sorry, my contact lenses are jumbling in my eyes. When ecstasy is invited, you feel aligned and ready to receive the miraculous and joyful gifts of experience the universe has ready to provide you. Sorry, my contact lenses are literally spinning in my eyes. There we go. Ecstasy acts as a cosmic green light that grants your destiny permission to enter. Hold on one second. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Oh, you're kidding. You're not just right there. You're not just right there. Oh, there you are. Crying all morning. What can I tell you? There we go. Ecstasy acts as a cosmic green light that grants your destiny permission to enter. In many instances, pain can be healed and released once a healthy relationship with pleasure is established. And I think that's kind of what keeps people from that sense of the surrender to the divine, to say, well, then I'm going to surrender, I'm going to suffer, and this is actually a way of inviting ecstasy, and it's like, all right, I surrender my will to the divine with the slave archetype. That is my intention, to heal, to that my own ecstatic, loving heart, even if it's just moments of mystical intimacy and prayer or meditation or contemplation, that is going to fill you up in a way that a sense of specialness really, really can't. This mantra is ideal for increasing self-worth, elevating levels of excitement, and allowing bigger dreams. The idea of the slave at all in this time that we are in, I think it is an archetype that society has struggled with outside, even within the spiritual context. With this last card down, considering this is a need to love read, right? To really get into it, that my healing affects all life too. See, as an empath, this has been my thing. Like today, like I wasn't even going to do these readings today. And I really had to go into prayer and say, well, you got to show me what to do, because the time of turmoil and challenge that we're in right now, who wants to hear from me about a full moon to a new moon read? And the guides were like, yeah, but it's what you do, and it's spiritual counseling and a 6-card draw. And I was like, all right, do it through me. And it is. And really the message that I'm getting here is, though you may not understand why, that if you really set your intention to surrender, to be used as a channel of the divine in whatever that means. You remember, I'm an eclectic witch. I'm not saying you need to do that through any one particular spiritual path, religion, or otherwise, but that to know that you are worthy of all the pleasure your heart desires, that there's something ecstatic available here in a time where a download like that into one nervous system is going to bless all nervous systems. Inviting ecstasy. Just saying. Let's get your last card down. And then we'll put them all together. A whisper of love from your higher self. Please breathe. Higher selves of all involved, possibly my own included. One card in clarity, please, for the Leo collective. Sun, moon, rising, I hear you. Venus signs this full moon in Sagittarius to new moon next in Cancer, please. What is the whisper of love? Considering the collective is talking about the slave archetype, which is just like, of all the cards to come up, but really with that surrender to the divine in a time when we really don't know what to do because everything is in such chaos, yet chaos is divine order, to set the intention, right? Whatever that intention may be, that it be in surrender, to surrender the will to the divine. Use me as a channel of miracles, of healing, however that plays itself out. And allow that specialness to rise up and be put in its place in the sense of understanding. It's like, it's not special, it's holy. This is, it doesn't, my own spiritual power of prayer, of meditation, what have you, will give me the love that I need, that will dissolve that specialness, and therefore can invite in ecstasy, because I'm worthy of all the pleasure my heart desires, and as my heart is lifted, all hearts are lifted. So please, higher selves of all concern, what you got for the Leos this full moon to new moon next, June 2020. Get to know each other. Learning to meet another's need for love is important for a relationship to grow. Now, look, in terms of a romantic read, I get that. That's not what this feels like, because of this card right here, the High Priestess, right? And because of with intention and with this incredibly high potency perfume level archetype available to those who are willing to really take the mystical leap of faith, to go into the interior world with the High Priestess, to have secrets revealed, to feel these things out while invoking, of all things, ecstasy into it. This feels like a spiritual divine ecstasy. Then the getting to know each other is on a much broader scale. It's not so much getting to know each other in terms of a one-on-one relationship, but we are looking at broader swaths of humanity. I am jumping around words like hopscotch here for YouTube. That you really understand. You get to know others' pain, and you get to know others' sympathy and others' empathy, and how people actually really do feel, perhaps through your own process of working with and being, in a sense, the High Priestess in that surrendered place, and getting that the special thing, inferior or superior specialness, special love or special hate, can be dissolved. Can be dissolved, because we are at core all one, and that in itself is worth inviting ecstasy for. So that's what I see for you. May the Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need this full moon to new moon next June 2020, to heal, to learn, to get what they need to love, and to be the best that they can be, fulfilling their role in the divine plan, particularly that they may just invite ecstasy as the high priestess to me is worth the price of admission for any blessing. But may they be so blessed for now and forevermore during this time of challenge, that as they rise into their place of brilliance and brightness, they fulfill their role and help heal this world. So mote it be. And so it is. Thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment if you feel fit, my Leos. Thank you so much for watching. Wishing you the very best and the very blessed of this full moon to new moon next. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.